In today's video, we talk about police officers who try to enforce their own rules, but they encountered real law experts instead. All people knew how to defend their rights, but also knew the law better than these cops. So let's take a look. Two officers pulled a guy over in a red car, claiming it was for an investigation, and started demanding his ID and driver's license. Of course, the man stood his ground and refused to hand over his information. The cops got all arrogant, insisting he was obligated to show them his ID, which we all know is total nonsense. It's like they missed the memo on the law, showing they don't really know how to do their job right. On top of that, they were trampling on this man's constitutional rights. He calmly explained that he only had to show ID if he actually committed a crime, and since they couldn't point out any wrongdoing, he wasn't budging. When they asked him why he was being difficult, he shot back that he's an American citizen with rights protected by constitutional law. Shouldn't these cops working in the same state be the ones safeguarding citizens' rights instead of jeopardizing them further? The officers kept throwing questions at the man, but he didn't have to play their game. Unlike the cops who pulled him over, this guy was a real law expert. He dropped the Fourth and Fifth Amendments on them and gave the cops a quick lesson in law.
I don't consent to any searches or seizures.
I'm not searching vehicle. I need to know, do you have your ID on you? I need to know who I made contact with, sir.
I haven't broken the law. Can you articulate a law that I've broken?
Right now, you must identify yourself, sir, because I have made contact and there's an ongoing investigation.
I haven't broken the law. I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right.
So you're refusing to identify yourself to me.
You haven't articulated a crime.
It's an ongoing investigation of shots fired in the area, sir.
It's not a crime. It's in the county.
You're missing the whole point, sir.
I am not giving up my Fifth Amendment right.
So
I'm not
that
going to violate
that
my
land
Fourth
belongs to you.
Amendment right.
That land belongs to you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any backstops behind any shooting that's going on back there?
I'm not going to answer any questions.
Okay, that's fine. Give me 1 second.
Can I see your supervisor?
He is a supervisor, sir.
Can I see your supervisor? I allow people to hunt on that property as well. So
Okay.
when they're hunting, is that a crime?
How much land you got?
I'm not going to answer any questions.
Okay. And why? Why? I'm just going to ask.
Because I have
why?
the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Okay. So.
You swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, didn't you?
Sure did.
Can you articulate to me what the Fourth and Fifth Amendment to the Constitution is?
Yeah, I can, but I'm not gonna, because you obviously know it. Okay. So this is my question. All right. If you want to search your rights, I have no problem with that.
I'm being
Okay.
illegally detained at this point.
Okay. Well, we're in the middle of an investigation. Okay.
Of a crime. It's not a crime. You can't even articulate a crime. I have no obligation to assist you in your investigation, you know?
Okay, so my question to you is this. You want to ask me a bunch of questions, but you don't want to answer any of my questions.
Yeah,
why are you being difficult?
I'm a citizen in America, and we have the Constitution. I know
Okay,
y'all
but that doesn't
believe
answer
that
why are you being so difficult.
I don't have to answer any of your questions, officer.
Okay, I just want to know what your issue is, why you don't want to talk to us. That's what my question is.
I'm sorry. I think
Okay.
you guys are tyrants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If y'all actually upheld the Constitution like you swore an oath to do, then yeah, I would answer questions. But y'all don't do that anymore. You're fucking tyrants anymore, man. No offense to you. I mean, I'm sure you might be a good dude. I know. I don't know. I know y'all are sitting here wanting to ID me and violate my constitutional rights.
Okay, but getting your ID is not violating your rights.
It certainly is. That's the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution.
And how?
How is it?
Yeah.
Because I don't have to have any searches or seizures. You can't search or seize anything.
The man even cracked a joke, telling the cops that if they could point out the law he broke, he'd happily show his ID. The cop insisted that they had the right to ask for his ID just because he was driving. Hold on, did he just suggest that driving down the street is a crime? Then out of the blue, he claimed that they were investigating shots fired, and people mentioned a man in a red car. Why not lead with that? Probably because it was a spontaneous invention. The cop, all smug, dared the man to find his claims in any legal book. Well, he got an earful, and the cop wisely let him go.
Crime?
I'll leave that up to my partner, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
You got to articulate a crime, and I'd be happy to ID myself if you can articulate a crime that I've broken or done something wrong.
Okay. Well, technically we have enough to stop you for the incident that we're investigating, and technically, if you want to get into the aspects of the law, you're just driving down the road. We have a right to see your driver's license registration. There's Supreme Court case law on that.
Yeah, if I violated a law.
Okay.
What's the law? What's the law that I violated?
Operating a vehicle on the roads of the Commonwealth.
That's against the law.
It's not against the law.
Well, then what
but
the fuck do you need my ID for?
once you have been stopped for a reasonable suspicion, you don't need probable cause.
Crime. You can't articulate a crime.
Didn't he already tell you that?
He didn't articulate a crime.
Okay. But a crime is not reasonable suspicion. You need to talk to a better lawyer.
I ain't talking to nobody.
Okay.
I'm just.
But a crime is not reasonable suspicion. A crime is probable cause. Okay.
RS, reasonable articulable suspicion. If you can articulate to me reasonable articulable suspicion, I will be happy to ID myself.
So if you want to play the reasonable person standard, we'll play that. Okay. So we're responding to a shots fired call. We have a witness that sees your truck driving from that area, and now we're talking to you. That's reasonable suspicion according to Supreme Court all day.
What's the crime?
Shots fired? We're investigating it? Well, no, I don't have to. No, I don't have to have a crime to stop you. I don't have to have a crime to ID you. I don't have to have a crime to talk to you.
You have to have a crime. If I've done something wrong, I will ID myself. You tell me what I've done wrong.
Show me where in a law book anywhere that reasonable suspicion equals a crime. It doesn't.
Is this a Terry stop?
It doesn't.
Is this Terry v. Ohio? Is this a Terry stop?
Okay. No, I don't think it's a Terry stop.
There you go.
Okay.
Am I free to leave?
So this is the rule. I'm going to print out the laws of Sussex County. I'm going to put it on that fence. It is regulations that have to follow. We are going to report it. They are going to come and investigate your area that you're shooting over there. Again, I'm going to take a picture. My light camera right here.
I don't want you to trespass on my property.
Listen, sir.
Okay.
Again, shots was fired in their area. Their homes right there. You can't shoot within a certain feet of the homes. So if y'all are in violation of that, you will be charged. Okay?
There's still no crime.
Yes, it is a crime. You can't shoot within certain feet of a home, sir.
How many feet was I in?
You're good to go, sir.
So this dude gets pulled over by a cop, but here's the kicker. It's not for doing anything illegal. The officer hits him up for an expired registration, a missing front plate, and tinted windows. All fair game for a ticket. But here's where it gets interesting. The cop insists on the ID, and our guy rightfully refuses since he's not actually broken any laws. He's not even griping about the potential tickets, yet he just knows the law better than Mr. Policeman. Talk about knowing your rights. But the cop not only throws shade on this guy's constitutional rights, which he's supposed to defend, by the way, but he also decides to bring in backup. Our dude calmly asks for the supervisor, but the officer acts like it's some kind of game. Like, really? Calling for a supervisor is within his rights, but it looks like this cop missed that class. Our guy is doing his best to keep things civil even though the cop is brushing off his rights. He's all like, hey, I appreciate you looking out for everyone's safety, but how about respecting my rights too? But nope, this cop is convinced he's in the right. He insists he needs the ID. Looks like our man reluctantly had to dig out that ID after all.
How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, it's tied for a couple reasons. First off, you don't have your front plate mounted.
Right.
As required.
I don't believe I'm required to.
Okay.
Is that,
state statute says you are.
Statutes aren't laws.
Yeah, they are.
Technically
second,
not.
you have expired registration.
Okay.
And you have an obvious window tint violation.
That's cool.
So your ID with you?
I don't. If I haven't committed a crime, I'd rather not provide my identifications. If you want to write me a ticket for the infractions, I'm totally happy to fight it out in court. That's
Listen,
cool.
man, I'm not here to be a jerk.
I got you.
I understand you have your thoughts away at things.
No, and you see that don't tread on me on the front, and I feel like you want to tread on me, so
okay. No,
I would
I'm not here
appreciate
to
a ticket so I
interfere
can
with
be on
your
my
thoughts.
way.
Okay, but you are required to provide an ID.
Am I?
You are, yes, by law.
With all caps corporate identification, I'm not one of your employees. I'm a man traveling in my private property. I'm not doing commerce on the roadways. And if you call for backup, you're conspiring against my rights.
Can you send me a backup number?
Could you get me a supervisor as well, too?
All right. We can.
We're not playing games here. I'm just asking for a supervisor because I know my rights. No, you're the ones playing games because you're trying to infringe on my rights. You just called for backup. That's conspiracy against rights. 18 U.S.C. 241, conspiracy against rights. 18 U.S.C. 242 would be deprivation of rights under color of law. Under color of law is where you're acting right now.
I'm not.
And the United States government is defunct. It exists in name only. All caps corporations. I'm not an all caps corporation. I'm a man. All lowercase.
I'm not saying you're a man. I'm not saying you're not traveling.
What are you trying to say?
In a motor vehicle on a state highway. Okay?
And you're trying to charge me with statutes, codes, and ordinances which are not laws. Okay. I am a man who abide by the laws of the land. I do no harm. I expect no harm to be done to me, and I expect not to be molested in my travels.
Okay.
I mean, I appreciate what you guys do and keeping people safe and all that stuff, and I just want to be respected, and I respect you guys.
I'm not being respectful to you.
Oh, you're not. You're totally being respectful, and I'm trying to be respectful as well, and I'm just trying to exercise my rights and not have this escalate into something it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to do that. Obviously, I stop over 1,000 people a year, every year, and mostly without incident, right?
Which is why I asked for my ticket so I could be on my way.
I can't issue a ticket if I don't know who you are.
I'm Tyler John, all lowercase. Once I give you my surname, then I'm incorporating. My surname is a corpse. It's tied to the family. So if I say I'm giving you that information under duress, I'm fine with that.
I guess I'm not tracking. You need to provide an identification.
Okay.
But the guy was so smart, he didn't want to hand over his ID, just wanted to show it. Before doing so, he asked the cop what would happen if he didn't show it. But the officer was so clueless, he couldn't even come up with a response. Talk about a cop who doesn't know what he's doing. The guy then cleverly held his ID against the car window so the officer could read it through the glass. However, the cop, putting his ego before his job, insisted he couldn't see it that way, even trying to stick his hands through the tiny opening above the window to grab the ID and get a better look. Then the guy once again demonstrated his legal knowledge when he explained to the policeman that, as a traveler simply using the road to go home, isn't required to carry a driver's license or insurance, and he doesn't have to show his ID to the police unless he has violated a law, which he clearly hasn't. In contrast, the cop needs to understand that he is not the driver. The driver is someone who earns a living through driving, like a truck driver or a transporter of goods and so on. Yet the cop tried to dismiss this in a foolish way by telling the man he can call the situation whatever he wants. It's not about what he wants, it's about being real. The policeman needs to expand his vocabulary, not just his knowledge of the law.
So under threat, duress, and coercion, I am giving you this.
You can call it whatever you want.
Well, what happens if I don't give it to you? I'm just
don't
saying.
Provide any type of identification, right? I can't see that.
You can see that.
I cannot make you out through that. Okay, you need to provide it. That's
I don't believe
property.
I have to give it to you. I believe I just have to present it. I'm just saying, state
absolutely.
property. That's the problem. It's not my property then. It becomes state property because you want my name in all caps. Then I bet you want my insurance and my registration, which also says I'm in all caps, corporate citizen or entity
I'm not
or person.
here to discuss the intricacies of that. Okay?
Right. Okay. So write me my. Stop it. I apologize.
We're back in business.
I appreciate it.
Okay. I just want to make sure you got everything covered here.
Right.
Well,
and I have Supreme Court rulings that as a traveler, I don't need license, insurance, or registration. So, I mean, no, because you're classifying me as a driver, which is someone doing business on the roadway, someone being paid to do commerce on the roadway, tractor, trailer, taxi driver. I am not any of those. I'm a private citizen, person, man, traveling in my private property. So, I just appreciate if I can get my tickets and be on my way. However you guys classify it, because that's the thing, you get into definitions. Black's Law Dictionary, a driver is someone doing commerce on the roadway. So when we go to court over this, that's where I'm going with this, is the definition legally.
It's fine.
So
you can argue that all you want. Obviously, we've been through this many times.
Cool.
Okay, and I'm sure you have as well. Okay, if this is, it sounds like you've done quite a bit of research. Okay, and I'm glad you have. Okay, I encourage anybody to do as much research as they can. Right.
Well, my problem
to protect
is
themselves.
The government's just reaching for everything they can right now. And
everything?
Everything.
So to make sure
they're
all the basic
$30 trillion in debt, $130 trillion in unfunded liabilities. I mean, I don't believe you guys have the money or the jurisdiction to do what you're doing, except for you're taking it from us to fund what you guys do. So, yeah, I've done some research, and I would just like to get my tickets beyond my way.
This cop quickly realized that this guy knew a lot more about the law than he initially assumed, especially with the constant recording of the guy's camera. Suddenly, the officer started praising the man for being knowledgeable about the law and encouraging people to research it. Can you believe these police officers? In a surprising mood shift, he respectfully returned the ID to the man, even thanking him. Finally, he issued the fines that should have been given initially without further argument. He listed all the penalties for the plates, registration, and windows, explaining that payment was due in the next 7 days. The cop, behaving like a completely different person now, also provided information on where to report and schedule a meeting with the judge, either online or in person. He emphasized the importance of appearing by a certain date to avoid the risk of losing his driver's license. The camera caught him the whole time, but he continued with his newfound attitude. And as you might guess, he wished the man a safe trip on the rest of his journey.
So I'll make sure we're all on the same page.
I appreciate you.
All right, man.
Thank you.
There's your ID back.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm issuing you a couple equipment warnings today. All right. 312205 front plate. 31.5 962 for window tint. Okay. I understand you have your own thoughts on that. I won't sit here and lecture you about them.
I appreciate
but, you're going to have to correct those to travel on Wyoming highways. All right. Due to your expiration dates on your registration and your driver's license, okay, both being a year old or more, right? You're receiving a citation for those. Okay. Both of those are here, along with failure to provide proof of liability insurance. Okay. As you're correct, you have 7 days to provide that to the court, right? Sounds like you're pretty familiar with that process. Okay. So 3 citations in total. I explained to you. You can show for your court date, which would be the 13th of July in Weston County.
Okay.
The county seat's Newcastle. All right, I'm sure you're familiar.
Sounds good.
If you don't wish to show for them, you can pay the forfeit bond. Okay. All the information to do that is on the back here, right? You can either do it online through the mail, and then of course there's some phone numbers for the courts if you have any questions regarding those. Okay.
Sounds good.
Hand those to you there.
Appreciate it.
Do you have any questions for me before we leave?
That'll be good.
All right, man. Wish we could have met on better circumstances because I bet we have a lot more in common. But
I bet.
Either way, I want you to have a safe trip.
Been the most pleasant encounter I've had, so I appreciate you.
Good deal.
Thank you.
All right, brace yourselves for this one. These cops stop a dude on a motorcycle out of the blue and demand his ID. Obviously, the guy knows the drill and refuses. So what do the cops do? Well, they decide to pull a fast one and snatch his bike. Yep, they actually took off with his motorcycle. The guy's recording the whole thing, rightfully asking where his property went. The cops point to the other side of the street like it's no big deal. Our man heads over, only to find the cop who swiped his ride. The officer's brilliant defense? He took the bike because the guy wouldn't cough up his ID. And to top it off, a female officer shows up, dropping the bomb that he's now being detained. What on earth for? Your guess is as good as ours. Believe it or not, it gets even more ludicrous. The guy, unfazed by this absurdity, questions whether they're so terrified of someone armed with only a camera. The policewoman insists they're scared for their safety, but it's hard to take them seriously when they're the ones with all the power and weaponry. Nevertheless, the man, trying to keep things civil, asks why he's being detained. The response? Because he walked away. Yep, you heard that right. Walking away from the drama is apparently now a crime. It's like they're making up rules on the spot. The absurdity is through the roof.
Where's my? He just stole my property. Your officer just stole my property. Prove it. Just like Oakland Rider. Where's my property at? Where's my property at? Where's my property at? Your officer stole my property. Prove it. Where is he at then? Where is he at then?
Right over there.
Well, I need to go see him. I mean, so I'm on a public sidewalk. You're running off with my property. I show you the state law.
Running off with?
My documents.
I asked you for your ID.
You asked me for my. You asked me.
Right now you're being detained.
For what?
I'm asking you to step over here while he's doing.
I mean, he's stealing my property. He's stealing my property.
You're not stealing anything.
Yes, you are. Where's my property? Well, give me my property
Right here.
then.
When I finish running
Well,
you out,
you ran across the street. You ran across the street with my property.
I have the right to run you out.
I mean, you stole my property. Where's my property?
Excuse me. I'm asking you to stand over there while he's dealing with that.
Why?
Because he's making.
I want to make sure he doesn't steal my property.
He's not stealing your property.
Prove
He's
it.
sitting
Prove it.
here.
Because he ran off with my
I'm
property.
asking you to
He
stand
ran
over
off with my
there. I'm
property.
asking you to
He
stand over
ran off with my property.
I'm asking
Why?
you to stand over there.
Your officer.
Because for officer safety.
Oh, safety. He stole my shit. He stole my shit. I mean, do I look like I'm brandishing a weapon?
I'm asking you to stand.
Oh,
over
you
there.
fear for your safety. You plan on shooting me in the back?
You are very close to him, and I'm asking you. To
Oh,
step over.
right. When he's the one with the guns and the
I'm
taser,
asking
right?
you to step
He's the
over.
one with the guns and your tasers, and he says he fears for his safety. So you're gonna just talk in circles. So you're not. So you the one gonna make this up that you're in danger.
I'm asking you.
I'm brandishing a camera.
Right.
You got cameras. You got more training than I have,
Right
and you're
now,
scared, right?
I'm
So this is a whole
asking you to
pathology thing, that right? You're scared of every black man that you see.
Over there?
Why? Because I'm just trying to talk to
Right
him.
now you're being detained, and this is his area where he's working in.
And he stole my property. He came over here. He stole my property. Well, give me my property then. Give me my property.
I'm allowed to come to my.
But you
area
stole my
to run
property.
your
You're
stuff out.
stealing my property.
Then the absurdity reaches new heights as the female police officer commands the man to vacate the premises as if public spaces suddenly lost their public status. What's even more amusing is the male policeman echoing her every word, almost like he's lost without her guidance, unable to conjure up his own version of the law. To add a layer of comedy, the man accuses the officers of theft, claiming they took his ID card to input data into their computer. Despite their denial, they failed to provide any evidence to the contrary. In a twist of irony, the female officer schools the man on the definition of stealing, and her partner chimes in about the difference between stealing and doing their job. This boy just got a crash course in harassment, given the front row seat he's getting from these confused officers. The female police officer dropped a bombshell, claiming the man was being detained for breaking some mysterious city law. It's apparent she's a bit fuzzy on the concept, considering police officers don't make city laws, that's the state's job. Is this cop just pulling excuses out of thin air, especially when she tried to convince the man that he's the confused one? I'm not sure he's the only one who needs a reality check here. No matter how many times the man asked for his stuff back, the cops kept insisting he had to move away. Like seriously, it's a public sidewalk. Where else should he stand? These police officers are totally crossing the line, not respecting his rights, and it's crystal clear that this guy knows the law better than the whole bunch of them.
While he's working over here in this man.
He doesn't look like he's in fear for his neighbor. He's looking at his.
I've asked him
Why?
to step over
Because
there.
You're stealing my property.
there is no one stealing.
Prove it. Well, give me my property then.
As soon as I'm done running you out and you
he's
get your
running you
citation,
out, and he
absolutely, you
needs
will
to
be more than
verify
happy
your
to.
seller's permit. So I'm asking
I'm
you to step
allowed
over
to
there.
come back to my work area.
But you stole my property. You stole my ID. You stole my.
What the definition of stealing is?
Why don't you look
I can look it up. It's,
Okay,
How
look
about
it
you
up.
look for the
you're refusing to give me my property. You're refusing to give me my property.
I'm asking you
You're
to step
refusing to
back.
give me my property.
You will get it with your citation.
Do you know what the definition of stealing
I know what the definition of harassment and I know what a tort claim is.
What is the definition of stealing?
I'm not going to argue with this with you because you're stealing my property.
But
I want my property.
Why don't you figure out what stealing means?
Why don't you figure out giving me my property back?
You get your citation, you will be more than happy to get it back.
I'm asking you,
Now you need to step back.
over there.
I'm fine right here. I haven't done anything.
ask
I'm
you
trying to get my property.
Get the wagon coming over there.
I'm trying to get my property. I'm trying to get my property back.
Right now, you're not obeying a lawful order.
I mean,
right now, you're being detained for selling on the Coliseum's property, which he already told you that. He asked you for your seller's permit because you need one of those when you're selling.
And I did that, and he ran off with it. And he ran off with my property. And I showed him the state law.
And he actually, it's the Oakland Municipal.
No, but state law supersedes Oakland law. You don't know anything about that?
No.
Oh, so you're looking away like you're going to just make excuses, right?
The city and the Coliseum.
The city does not have the right to make laws that supersede the state laws. You don't know about that?
I think you're a little bit confused.
No, I think you're confused because you don't know what the law is.
Oakland
You need to step
Municipal
back.
Code.
Why? I'm just here trying to make sure I get my property back.
There's an Oakland Municipal Code. That's
Oh,
the
and state law supersedes city
I'm
law,
not
and you don't know what the I mean, you're saying you don't know this. I mean, but the law that I just gave your officer, the law I just gave your law, so you're looping back to law that has been overridden.
Private property is and what is not private property.
I mean, a sidewalk.